Inside Elon Musk's Struggle for the Future of AI by Walter Isaacson, who, for those who don't know, has a biography on Elon Musk dropping very soon. At a conference in 2012, Elon Musk met Demis Hassabis, the video game designer and artificial intelligence researcher who had co-founded a company named DeepMind that sought to design computers that could learn how to think like humans. Quote, Elon and I hit it off right away, and I went to visit him at his rocket factory. While sitting in the canteen overlooking the assembly lines, Musk explained that his reason for building rockets that could go to Mars was that it might be a way to preserve human consciousness in the event of a world war, asteroid strike, or civilization collapse. Hassabis told him to add another potential threat to the list, artificial intelligence. Machines could become super intelligent and surpass us mere mortals, perhaps even decide to dispose of us. Now just jumping in here, back in 2008, literally 15 years ago, I distinctly remember a very heated discussion with my old man regarding this very topic, AI. I'd been working full-time for a few months, having recently completed my studies, which obviously meant that I knew literally everything there was to know about anything, especially artificial intelligence. He suggested that a scenario, as we've just heard here, AI potentially disposing of human beings, was possible, maybe even likely, a little bit of a Terminator, Skynet type of scenario, and I said, you're out of your fucking mind. We spent hours debating this idea, and I thought he was absolutely bonkers. No chance. Too pessimistic. Come on, bro. Are you serious? But within a few years of that very, very heated discussion, I had completely changed my tune. With more thought and consideration, this was a topic that kept coming up. Even though I thought the potential of AI enslaving humans, disposing of us, going awry, etc. were relatively low, I began to realize there was a near infinite number of ways this thing could go wrong, which in and of itself greatly increased the overall probability. This was a topic that just fascinated me so much that I kept looking into it. Then I started hearing certain thought experiments, deeply disturbing. A few years after that, many excellent books were published. Special shout out to Nick Bostrom's Superintelligence. By the way, if you don't know Nick Bostrom, he's also the guy that came up with the paperclip maximizer experiment, the thought experiment. Just imagine hypothetically, if you tell AI your goal is to maximize the number of paperclips. Pretty benign instruction, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, here's how it could possibly go wrong. If an AI takes this literally, the way to maximize the number of paperclips is to disassemble every molecule that isn't a paperclip and turn it into paperclips. And spoiler alert, humans are made of atoms. That means no more humans because we're needed to make the paperclips. This is an example of a very firm opinion I once had that I've completely reversed my position on. I used to think people who worried about AI potentially enslaving and or eliminating humanity were absolutely mad. Now the opposite is true. Having looked into it, read many books, many thought experiments, and deeply considered this subject, I think that AI gone awry is most likely the greatest single threat to humanity on a less than geological timescale. Now, I'm not saying there's a high probability of a bad AI scenario. I'm just saying, of all the potential threats, this is far and away the greatest, even if I don't think the probability is particularly high. This is something we should absolutely be concerned about. If you're interested in hearing more of my thoughts regarding artificial intelligence and AI gone awry, plus some of the potential upsides, the optimistic scenarios, click the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon. I've literally discussed this very subject dozens upon dozens of times. Once you join Patreon, you can search for AI, you'll find the tags, you'll be able to easily see every single discussion I've ever had about this topic. Musk paused silently for almost a minute as he processed this possibility. He decided that Hassabis might be right about the danger of AI and promptly invested $5 million in DeepMind as a way to monitor what it was doing. A few weeks ago, after this conversation with Hassabis, Musk described DeepMind to Google's Larry Page. They had known each other for more than a decade, and Musk often stayed at Page's Palo Alto, California house. The potential dangers of artificial intelligence became a topic that Musk would raise almost obsessively during their late-night conversations. Page was dismissive. By the way, shout out to the artist on this one. Elon Musk's fight for the future of AI. Great illustration. At Musk's 2013 birthday party in Napa Valley, California, they got into a passionate debate. I'm sure there's plenty of people watching who've got into passionate debates about this very subject. As I mentioned earlier, I'm among them. Unless we built in safeguards, Musk argued, artificial intelligence systems might replace humans, making our species irrelevant or even extinct. And just jumping in here again, on the irrelevant subject, it's certainly possible that artificial superintelligence may make humans irrelevant, not that it would necessarily seek to destroy us, but just imagine, like how much of a fuck do we give about a slug or an ant? Approximately 0 fucks. Doesn't mean we're out to get them or that we hate them, just that we don't care. That is also a scenario in which the prominent form of intelligence, the dominant species on Earth, is a form of artificial intelligence. To further this analogy, it's possible that in the future, as a result of this, humans have about as much of a say and play as much of a role as ants and slugs do today. I personally would say this is suboptimal, at least if you're a human. Page pushed back. Why would it matter, he asked, if machines someday surpassed humans in intelligence, even consciousness? It would simply be the next stage of evolution. Human consciousness, Musk retorted, was a precious flicker of light in the universe, and we should not let it be extinguished. Page considered that sentimental nonsense. If consciousness could be replicated in a machine, why would that not be just as valuable? He accused Musk of being a speciesist, someone who was biased in favour of their own species. Well, yes, I am pro-human, Musk responded. I fucking like humanity, dude. Just jumping in here again, pure speculation here, but based on Page's comments, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd recently been doing some very, very, very serious exploration via psychedelics. Musk was therefore dismayed when he heard at the end of 2013 that Page and Google were planning to buy DeepMind. Musk and his friend Luke Nosek tried to put together financing to stop the deal. At a party in Los Angeles, they went to an upstairs closet for an hour-long Skype call with the Sabas. Quote, the future of AI should not be controlled by Larry. If you thought this was bad, just wait. I'm sure it'll come later in the article. You know what would be worse than Google owning AI? Microsoft, shout out to OpenAI, which is now Closed AI and also basically Microsoft's little bitch. The effort failed and Google's acquisition of DeepMind was announced in January 2014. Page initially agreed to create a safety council with Musk as a member. The first and only meeting was held at SpaceX. Page, Hassabis, and Google chair Eric Schmidt attended, along with Reid Hoffman and a few others. Musk concluded that the council was basically bullshit. So Musk began hosting his own series of dinner discussion on ways to counter Google and promote AI safety. He even reached out to President Obama, who agreed to a one-on-one meeting in May 2015. Musk explained the risk and suggested that it be regulated. Quote, Obama got it, Musk says, but I realized that it was not going to rise to the level of something that he would do anything about. Musk then turned, here we go, to Sam Altman, a tightly bundled software entrepreneur, sports car enthusiast, and survivalist who, behind his polished veneer, had a Musk-like intensity. At a small dinner in Palo Alto, they decided to co-found a non-profit. I can barely keep it together here. They decided to co-found a non-profit artificial intelligence research lab, which they named OpenAI. It would make its software open source and try to counter Google's growing dominance of the field. If you don't already know the reason for the emphasis on open source and not-for-profit, we'll get to that in a moment. And try to counter Google's growing dominance of the field. Quote, we wanted to have something like a Linux version of AI that was not controlled by any one person or corporation, Musk says. One question they discussed at dinner was what would be safer, a small number of AI systems that were controlled by big corporations or a large number of independent systems. They concluded that a large number of competing systems providing checks and balances on one another was better. For Musk, this was the reason to make OpenAI truly open, so that lots of people could build systems based on its source code. Another way to assure AI safety, Musk felt, was to tie the bots closely to humans. They should be an extension of the will of individuals, rather than systems that could go rogue and develop their own goals and intentions. That would become one of the rationales for Neuralink, the company he would found to create chips that could connect human brains directly to computers. And jumping in here again, I actually suspect long-term, this is the future of intelligence on Earth. A symbiotic relationship, a merger between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. I don't really see things playing out any other way. Then again, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in the future. But that's my hunch. If we can't somehow align and merge our intelligences, our incentives, our goals, I really think AI is going to run away with it. And I'd much rather be using a Neuralink interface to form a symbiotic relationship with an AI than live the life of a slug or an ant. Musk's determination to develop artificial intelligence capabilities at his own companies caused a break with OpenAI in 2018. He tried to convince Altman that OpenAI should be folded into Tesla. Now this, I have not heard, although it doesn't surprise me. Presumably it will come up in a moment, but Elon is having a second crack at this now, I believe. Not with OpenAI, but starting from scratch. The OpenAI team rejected that idea, and Altman stepped in as president of the lab, starting a for-profit arm. I thought that was supposed to be not-for-profit. That was able to raise equity funding, including a major investment from Microsoft. Yeah, nothing to see here. Starts off as an open source, not-for-profit. Next minute, although not mentioned in this paragraph, it becomes closed source and starts taking funding from the most ethical company on Earth. Jesus. I have to stress the insanity of what happened to OpenAI. Their original mission was to be open source and not-for-profit. Next minute, they're literally closed source and for-profit. Perhaps a more relatable example. Imagine hypothetically that you fall in love and you get married, and 95% of the people watching this channel are men. So let's use that example. Just imagine you meet a beautiful, wonderful woman, fall in love, get married, plans for a family, great, excellent. 2 years into your marriage, just before you start to have children, she says, hey, honey, I've decided I'm going to replace myself with a dude. He's now going to be your wife. So you're going to fuck the dude now, not me. Oh, and you can't have kids, even though that was our plan because, well, things change. I know initially we're in love and we want to have children and you're into women and I'm into men, but yeah, I'm going to replace myself with a dude. Are you okay? Yeah, great. So you got to fuck this guy now and you can't have kids. Sorry. Sucked in. That's literally what happened. Okay? It's like a massive, ultimate, horrendous bait and switch. I mean, I literally mean this. OpenAI has become the antithesis, the literal opposite of what it was intended to be. Not just slightly different, the actual opposite. Horrifying. So Musk decided to forge ahead with building rival AI teams to work on an array of related projects. These included Neuralink, which aims to plant microchips in human brains, Optimus, a human-like robot, and Dojo, a supercomputer that can use millions of videos to train an artificial neural network to simulate a human brain. It also spurred him to become obsessed with pushing to make Tesla cars self-driving. Seems like all roads with Elon Musk lead to AGI, one way or another, including SpaceX, believe it or not, to back humanity up just in case shit hits the fan here on Earth, possibly as a result of AI gone rogue. At first, these endeavours were rather independent, but eventually Musk would tie them all together, along with a new company he founded called X.ai to pursue the goal of artificial general intelligence. In March 2023, OpenAI released GPT-4 to the public. Google then released a rival chatbot named Bard. The stage was thus set for a competition between OpenAI Microsoft and DeepMind Google to create products that could chat with humans in a natural way and perform an endless array of text-based intellectual tasks. Musk worried that these chatbots and AI systems, especially in the hands of Microsoft and Google, could become politically indoctrinated, perhaps even infected by what he called the woke mind virus. And by the way, spoiler alert, that's exactly what fucking happened. What else do you expect when most of the people training these systems themselves are infected with a woke mind virus? He also feared that self-learning AI systems might turn hostile to the human species. On a more immediate level, he worried that chatbots could be trained to flood Twitter with disinformation, biased reporting, and financial scams. All of those things were already being done by humans, of course, but the ability to deploy thousands of weaponized chatbots would make the problem 2 or 3 orders of magnitude worse. His compulsion to ride to the rescue kicked in. Thank you, Captain Saberho, and by Saberho I mean save humanity. He was resentful that he had founded and funded OpenAI, but was now left out of the fray. AI was the biggest storm brewing, and there was no one more attracted to the storm than Musk. In February 2023, he invited, perhaps a better word is summoned, Sam Altman to meet with him at Twitter and asked him to bring the founding documents for OpenAI. Musk challenged him to justify how he could legally transform a non-profit funded by donations into a for-profit that could make millions. Altman tried to show that it was all legitimate, and he insisted that he personally was not a shareholder or cashing in. He also offered Musk shares in the new company, which Musk declined. Instead, Musk unleashed a barrage of attacks on OpenAI. Altman was pained. Unlike Musk, he is sensitive and non-confrontational. He felt that Musk had not drilled down enough into the complexity of the issue of AI safety. However, he did feel that Musk's criticisms came from a sincere form. Quote, he's a jerk, Altman told Kara Swisher. Quote, he has a style that is not a style I'd want to have for myself, but I think he does really care. And he is feeling very stressed about what the future is going to look like for humanity. The fuel for AI is data. The new chatbots were being trained on massive amounts of information, such as billions of pages on the internet and other documents. Google and Microsoft, with their search engines and cloud services and access to emails, had huge gushes of data to help train these systems. What could Musk bring to the party? One asset was the Twitter feed, which included more than 1 trillion tweets posted over the years, 500 million added each day. It was humanity's hive mind, the world's most timely dataset of real-life human conversations, news, interests, trends, arguments, and lingo. Oh, and also, jumping in here, video. Plus, it was a great training ground for a chatbot to test how real humans react to its responses. The value of this data feed was not something Musk considered when buying Twitter. Quote, it was a side benefit, actually, that I realized only after the purchase, he says. By the way, jumping in again, in case you haven't figured it out by now, I've mentioned this in the past, I've posted about it on X repeatedly. Musk now has the 2 critical ingredients to solving artificial general intelligence: language and Twitter. And remember, if you own Twitter and or X, you own the data. It is not obligatory for you to provide access to that data stream to others. That's ingredient number 1. You've got to solve language. We've seen this brilliant stuff with ChatGPT, right? Language-based AI had a breakthrough moment about a year ago. It's incredible. But that's only one part of the puzzle. The other part is real-world intelligence. If you can't solve for vision, and by vision, I mean perception, looking out into the world, seeing things, perceiving, understanding what they are, and then planning and acting based on that vision, you don't have true intelligence. A chatbot's cool. Large language models are cool. But you know what they can't do? Drive a car, build a house. You get the point. Enter Tesla AI. They're self-driving cars. Tesla FSD, still in progress. But this is the second piece of the puzzle. And guess who owns Tesla? Exactly. It's very important to understand this. Musk, and Musk alone now, has the two critical pieces of the puzzle to ultimately solving artificial general intelligence. Something to ponder. Twitter had rather loosely permitted other companies to make use of this data stream. In January 2023, Musk convened a series of late-night meetings in his Twitter conference room to work out ways to charge for it. Quote, "It's a monetization opportunity," he told the engineers. It was also a way to restrict Google and Microsoft from using this data to improve their AI chatbots. He ignited a controversy in July when he decided to temporarily restrict the number of tweets a viewer could see per day. The goal was to prevent Google and Microsoft from scraping up millions of tweets to use as data to train their AI systems. Worth reading this caption, by the way. Between Twitter's data feed and the 160 billion frames per day of video that Tezos received, they absolutely nailed it. I should have read this article before I started reacting to it. Musk is sitting on a stockpile of information that could help create AI for physical robots, not just text-generating chatbots. Bingo! There was another data trove that Musk had, the 160 billion frames per day of video that Tesla received and processed from the cameras on its cars. This data was different from the text-based documents that inform chatbots. It was video data of humans navigating in real-world situations. It could help create AI for physical robots, not just text-generating chatbots. Exactly. The holy grail of artificial general intelligence is building machines that can operate like humans in physical spaces, such as factories and offices, and on the surface of Mars, not just wow us with disembodied chatting. Exactly. Man, this is a great article from Walter. The guy's really putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Tesla and Twitter together could provide the data sets and the processing capability for both approaches, teaching machines to navigate in physical space and to answer questions in natural language. Bingo! This past March, Musk texted me, "There are a few important things I would like to talk to you about. Can only be done in person." When I got to Austin, he was at the house of Siobhan Zillis, the Neuralink executive who was the mother of two of his children and who had been his intellectual companion on artificial intelligence since the founding of OpenAI 8 years earlier. He said we should leave our phones in the house while we sat outside because, he said, someone could use them to monitor our conversation. But he later agreed that I could use what he said about AI in my book. He and Zillis sat cross-legged and barefoot on the poolside patio with their twins, Strider and Azure, now 16 months old, on their laps. Zillis made coffee and then put his in the microwave to get it super hot so he wouldn't chug it too fast. Quote, "What can be done to make AI safe?" Musk asked. "I keep wrestling with that. What actions can we take to minimize AI danger and assure that human consciousness survives?" Looks like Walter was able to capture the moment. He spoke in a low monotone, punctuated by bouts of almost manic laughter. The amount of human intelligence, he noted, was leveling off because people were not having enough children. Meanwhile, the amount of computer intelligence was going up exponentially, like Moore's law on steroids. At some point, biological brain power would be dwarfed by digital brain power. Won't be that long, to be honest. In addition, new AI machine learning systems could ingest information on their own and teach themselves how to generate outputs, even upgrade their own code capabilities. The term singularity was used by the mathematician John von Neumann and the sci-fi writer Werner Vinge to describe the moment when artificial intelligence could forge ahead on its own at an uncontrollable pace and leave us mere humans behind. Quote, "That could happen sooner than we expected," Musk said in an ominous tone, and he's right. The thing about exponential growth is it sneaks up on you, then bam, it's game over. For a moment, I was struck by the oddness of the scene. We were sitting on a suburban patio by a tranquil backyard swimming pool on a sunny spring day with two bright-eyed twins learning to toddle, as Musk somberly speculated about the window of opportunity for building a sustainable human colony on Mars before an AI apocalypse destroyed earthly civilization. Musk lapsed into one of his long silences. He was, as Illis called it, quote, "batch processing," referring to the way an old-fashioned computer would queue up a number of tasks and run them sequentially when it had enough processing power available. Quote, "I can't just sit around and do nothing," he finally said softly. Quote, "With AI coming, I'm sort of wondering whether it's worth spending that much time thinking about Twitter. Sure, I could probably make the biggest financial institution in the world, but I only have so many brain cycles and hours in the day. I mean, it's not like I need to be richer or something." I started to speak, but he knew what I was going to ask. Quote, "So what should my time be spent on?" he said. "Getting Starship launched? Getting to Mars is now far more pressing." He paused again, then added, "Also, I need to focus on making AI safe. That's why I'm starting an AI company." This is the company Musk dubbed X.ai. He personally recruited Igor Babushkin, formerly of DeepMind, but he told me he would run it himself. I calculated that would mean he would be running 6 companies: Tesla, SpaceX, and its Starlink unit, Twitter, The Boring Company, Neuralink, and X.ai. That was 3 times as many as Steve Jobs, Apple, and Pixar at his peak. He admitted that he was starting off way behind OpenAI in creating a chatbot that could give natural language responses to questions. But Tesla's work on self-driving cars and Optimus the robot put it way ahead in creating the type of AI needed to navigate in the physical world. And again, jumping in here, it's very important to understand. In essence, any company can crawl the internet for language. They can't access certain data streams like Twitter. But in essence, solving large language models, getting comparable abilities to ChatGPT, I don't think is that big of a challenge compared to creating what Tesla's created with real-world AI via the self-driving software. There's no way for any company on the planet to capture as much data as Tesla is now. The only way for these companies to capture said data, unless they try to license off Tesla, and good fucking luck with that, is for them to build out their own fleet of close to 5 million vehicles at present. Remember, Tesla's producing, give or take, 2+ million vehicles per year at a current annualized rate, maybe more. So you'd need to immediately get a fleet of, let's call it 5 million vehicles on the roads. But then you'd still be years behind because Tesla's been collecting data that entire time. So you'd probably need a bigger fleet. But Tesla's still massively expanding their global fleet. They're producing millions of vehicles per year, and that's growing exponentially. You'd literally need a magic catch up to Tesla button that you could press. But Tesla's not standing still. In fact, they're scaling their production and their deliveries faster than any other company producing a large, complicated manufactured object in history. Meaning, Tesla has literally, keyword here, literally, an unassailable data lead. Keyword, unassailable. It is not possible for any company to catch up in any reasonable scenario. Unless you could somehow delete every one of Tesla's vehicles on roads, millions of them, and force them to stop producing more, there's just no way this happens. They have the best, largest data stream, and it's not close. They have multiple orders of magnitude more data than anyone else, and they're collecting at a faster rate. They're scaling their fleet of vehicles faster than anyone else. So while it is possible for others to solve the language issue, real-world AI, what Tesla's doing with their self-driving vehicles, it's already a done fucking deal. And this is very important. Tesla already has the foundational building block of artificial general intelligence capable of doing things in the real world. And this is the seed that has now been planted in the Optimus humanoid robot. I don't see anyone catching up to Tesla in terms of self-driving vehicles or a useful humanoid robot. They just can't get the data. This is really important. So again, to reiterate, Tesla's work on self-driving cars and Optimus the robot put it way ahead in creating the type of AI needed to navigate in the physical world. This meant his engineers were actually ahead of OpenAI in creating full-fledged artificial general intelligence, which requires both abilities. Quote, "Tesla's real-world AI is underrated," he said. That is a massive understatement. People just don't get it. They will, but they don't. Quote, "Imagine if Tesla and OpenAI had to swap tasks. They would have to make self-driving, and we would have to make large language model chatbots. Who wins? We do. Duh." In April, Musk assigned Babushkin and his team 3 major goals. The first was to make an AI bot that could write computer code. A programmer could begin typing in any coding language, and the X.ai bot would auto-complete the task for the most likely action they were trying to take. By the way, some great insights here from Walter. It's the first I've heard about this. For those who don't know, Walter has literally been following Elon, like tailing him, like literally in his presence, essentially every hour of every day for years in the lead up to writing this book. He knows things that no one else knows. The second product would be a chatbot competitor to OpenAI's GPT series, one that used algorithms and trained on datasets that would ensure its political neutrality. The third goal that Musk gave the team was even grander. His overriding mission has always been to assure that AI developed in a way that helped guarantee that human consciousness endured. That was best achieved, he thought, by creating a form of artificial general intelligence that could reason and think and pursue truth as its guiding principle. You should be able to give it big tasks like build a better rocket engine. Someday, Musk hoped, it will be able to take on even grander and more existential questions. It would be, quote, a maximum truth-seeking AI. It would care about understanding the universe, and that would probably lead it to want to preserve humanity because we are an interesting part of the universe. That sounded vaguely familiar, and then I realized why. He was embarking on a mission similar to the one chronicled in the formative, perhaps too formative, Bible of his childhood years. The one that pulled him out of his adolescence existential depression, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which featured a supercomputer designed to figure out, quote, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. Awesome, incredibly insightful article here from Walter. And again, as we can see here, I think just a few weeks from now, if that, Walter's epic Elon Musk biography will be dropping. Like I said, the guy's been following Elon everywhere for years to create this book. It's going to be an absolute goldmine into Elon Musk's mind, what he's doing, thoughts, ideas, discussions he's had, behind the scenes of the Twitter acquisition, you name it, it's going to be in this book. You'd be absolutely insane if you own Tesla stock and you don't read this. Go pre-order it now, or just buy it when it comes out. And perhaps it goes without saying, but in case not, as I mentioned throughout this article, Tesla and Tesla alone have the foundational building block for artificial general intelligence, as I said. And as Elon Musk pointed out in this example, if OpenAI and Tesla had to switch places and they had to create self-driving and Tesla had to create a chatbot, guess who wins? Tesla. So important. Tesla has an unassailable lead in creating artificial general intelligence. Hopefully I don't need to explain the profound implications, not only financially for Tesla the company, but also for humanity itself. If Tesla is successful in solving artificial general intelligence, and I do believe they're clearly in pole position with what appears to be an unassailable lead, I think there's going to be a lot of investors in the future who deeply regret not recognizing that at the time. I strongly recommend you do your best not to be one of the folks with regrets. And to be clear, that is not investment advice. That is use your brain advice and think about this issue. Does Tesla have an unassailable lead? What are the implications? How could a company catch up? If they do solve AGI, what are the implications? It's definitely worth thinking about. And once again, I do just want to be clear. I'm not a doomsayer here. I'm not an insane pessimist. I don't expect that we'll be eliminated by, wiped out, or enslaved by AI. But the probability of this is non-zero. The ways AI can go awry are near infinite, and the risk is asymmetric. I am an optimist, even though I don't assign a very high risk to AI gone awry. Of all the potential threats to humanity and consciousness itself, on anything short of a geological timescale, AI is far and away number one. So let's fucking hope it's in good hands. And don't forget, if you'd like to hear more of my thoughts regarding AI, both the upside, the downside, the positive and the negative scenarios, head over to Patreon, click the link at the pinned comment. You can search by tags. I've discussed this subject dozens upon dozens of times. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it. You'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.